Welcome back to the Flower Garden. My name is Lisa, and in today's video I wanted to talk about how we have all of these different dimensions existing in the eternal now, the right now, right freaking now. Let's get into it. So when I started thinking about this topic, it really got me thinking about how when we think about heaven and earth, they're really not that far apart when we think about it, as far as, where do we go after we die? What if we don't really go anywhere as much as we just ascend to another dimension? We just ascend to the next dimension. The way that this works is essentially there are many different dimensions happening all at once here now. So when you think about it, we can use the analogy that John Elkins used in The Law of One, which is the analogy of a television. So when you think about a television, there are so many different channels on one television, right? There's channel 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. And channel 3 and channel 4 exist independently of each other, but they're still existing on the same television set, right? So in the same way, we have all of these realities that exist on the same plane of existence, not the same plane of existence, but just they're all existing, right, in the same universe, but they are just independent of each other. The way that on a television, channel 3 and channel 4 are independent of each other. However, there are, beings and instances where we will have interdimensional travel, and we will have, beings that may be traveling in between dimensions. And this is how we can also travel, through astral projection. We can ascend to different dimensions. So when we look at that example of the television set, that means that our 3D reality, where you and I are right now, is existing alongside many other dimensions, right? And in those dimensions, there can be higher vibrational beings, there can be lower vibrational beings, and there are. And that's where everything is existing in the same place. And so that's where people, have experiences with maybe demons or ghosts or things like that, because what's happening is this being is traveling between these two dimensions, right? It's traveling between our 3D and their own dimension. They may just be popping up and popping back into their dimension. And the same goes for higher vibrational beings. So angels, spirit guides, fairies, things like that. They all still exist here, right? It's just that they're not existing on this plane of existence. They're existing on another plane of existence. So then people wonder, how can I access these dimensions, right? How do I raise my vibration? What does that mean? And, obviously, like I mentioned, you can eat well, you can meditate, you can do all these different things. However, I also wanted to bring your attention to plant medicines, right? So this is actually how plant medicines work, is when you take a plant medicine, whether it be, ayahuasca, DMT, or mushrooms, they're actually expanding your consciousness. So you are still existing in this 3D reality, but you are being expanded to start experiencing more realities at once. So you're able to perceive more beings that were already there. So it's not that you're hallucinating anything or you're not creating anything. You're just becoming more aware of everything that is around you. And that's why people who, do these kinds of plant medicines that have these experiences, they usually describe just how much more vivid their environment becomes and how, they notice different things about plants and things around them. That's because they're realizing things and noticing things that they didn't realize before from their 3D perspective, because now they're able to perceive much more outside of just their normal consciousness. And along with, the conversation with higher dimensional beings, with lower dimensional beings, when we look at UFOs, they also actually are traveling in between dimensions. And so that's why people who often see UFOs, they describe that, it just appeared for a little bit and then it just disappeared. where did it go? And that's because they are going to a higher dimension, right? UFOs, aliens, they are usually of higher dimensions, right? They are more higher dimensional beings, and so they can travel between these dimensions, between our 3D dimension and between their higher dimensions, especially highly advanced civilizations that have been around forever. There are all kinds of aliens, right? But those specifically that I'm talking about, that you see their ship and it just kind of appears, disappears, those are usually ones that are very high dimensional, and they are able to at will shift in between dimensions. So now you might be like, well, why do I need to know about this? Why is this knowledge useful to me? And in regards to that, I want to bring your attention to the fact that when we talk about raising your frequency, when we talk about you attract what you are, right? When we're talking about that, that means that you are attracting from your point of vibration. So what that means is if you are in a low vibe all of the time, then you are actually accessing lower dimensions, right? Lower vibrational dimensions. And you're getting access to these lower vibrational beings, beings that want to hurt you, demons, you've heard the stories. And that happens when you are actually submitting yourself to this lower vibration and to this lower dimension. You're accessing this lower dimension. And so if you're someone who experiences these things a lot and you're not doing anything to raise your vibration, you're just going to keep experiencing these things, because everything is a choice, right? You still have free will, and you can choose from which point you are vibrating, from which point you are attracting, and what you are attracting into your life. And along those same lines, you can also attract from a higher frequency, right? So you can choose to elevate your frequency, your energy, and to manifest from those areas, right? And manifest, light beings who want to help you, have easier communication with your spirit guides, to have easier communication with angels and other light beings. And if you were to do, like I said, plant medicines, you, from a higher vibration, you would be able to have a good high, right? Because people talk about having a bad high versus a good high. And what happens with the bad high is that means that your vibration is very low. So you are not able to handle all of the expansion that you are experiencing, right? Because you're being exposed to all these entities that can be negative, and you don't know what to do with it, right? Your vibration isn't high enough to rise above those entities and to have more access to higher vibrational entities, right? Such as the mushroom spirit who wants to teach you, right? Or Mother Gaia. A lot of people experience seeing Mother Gaia when they do ayahuasca, and other light beings who want to work with you, who want to help you, right? They're loving, they're generous, they have a lot of knowledge, and they want to help us, right? It's just a matter of, where do you want to manifest from? What frequency are you at, right? So if you're at a lower frequency, then you're going to have these bad experiences, such as a bad high, or experiences with ghosts and things like that. If you're at a higher frequency, you are going to have more experiences with light beings, with, with good aliens, right? Because there's good and bad in everything, and things like that. And with angels and, fairies, and you have easier access to them, and you can actually have a consistent dialogue with them and, request things and really work with them and have a continuous relationship with them. And along those same lines, I wanted to talk about when somebody passes away, right? So this goes back to the beginning of our video where we were talking about heaven and earth, not so far apart. We're just transcending to a different dimension. We're still here. It's just that we're not here in the 3D anymore, but we're still here. You're just on channel 4 now. You were on channel 3, you're on channel 4. But a lot of people think that, when somebody passes away, they either go somewhere and so you don't have access to them, or whatever your beliefs are, right? You might think that, you're dead and that's it and you cease to exist. But what happens is, the soul transcends to the next dimension. However, parts of the soul are still able to be here, right? So when somebody has passed away, when somebody in our lives has passed away, a lot of people think, okay, well, my relationship with that person is over. I don't have access to them anymore. when really you can still have that relationship with them. It's just a different kind of relationship. You can still communicate with them, you can still feel their presence and get help from them. It's just a matter of, are you open to it? Do you want to raise your frequency to be able to have access to them, to their higher self, right? And to be able to communicate with them. It's all a matter of choice at the end of the day. And if you found that helpful, then make sure you turn on that notification bell, because in the next video, I'm going to be talking about how we can go about being as if and acting as if. And if you want to learn more about the law of attraction, about other esoteric topics, about having a positive mindset, then you can check out these videos right here. And until next time, I love you guys. I hope you have a good week and a good day. Bye.